And that breaking news is out of our nation's capital tonight. 2 Israeli embassy members have been shot and killed near D.C.'s Jewish Museum. Thank you for joining us for KRON 4 News at 10. I'm Dan Thorne.
And I'm Noelle Bello. D.C. police say this shooting happened shortly after 9 o'clock this evening, D.C. time. The suspect is in custody tonight. Police say the 2 embassy staff workers, a man and a woman, were leaving an event at Capitol Jewish Museum with 2 other people. That's when police say the suspect, identified as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez from Chicago, approached the group and opened fire. The suspect then walked into the museum, where he was detained by event security. Police say the suspect was seen pacing outside the museum before this shooting took place. When officers were arresting him, he yelled, "Free Palestine, free Palestine." D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser had this to say tonight.
And I want to be clear that we will not tolerate this violence or hate in our city. We will not tolerate any acts of terrorism, and we're going to stand together as a community in the coming days and weeks to send a clear message that we will not tolerate anti-Semitism.
Danny Danon, Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, quickly reacting on social media tonight and called the shooting a depraved act of anti-Semitic terrorism. He also wrote, quote, "Harming the Jewish community is crossing a red line. We are confident that the U.S. authorities will take strong action against those responsible. Israel will continue to act resolutely to protect its citizens and representatives everywhere in the world."
We're now joined by State Senator Scott Wiener for reaction and comment to this. Senator, a deadly shooting, of course, of any kind, absolutely horrific. One with implications like this obviously has an added layer of upset. Your reaction tonight to this news?
Well, this is absolutely terrifying. We have shootings of these Israeli embassy staffers right outside of a Jewish museum that was hosting a Jewish community event. And we know that the Jewish community is at increased risk for violent attacks. Jews are 2% of the U.S. population, but 15% of all hate crimes and 68% of religion-based hate crimes, and it's just a horrific situation, and I'm really glad that they got the guy, and I'm really I mourn these 2 individuals who were murdered.
Senator Weiner, thanks again for joining us. The war in Gaza is continuing right now, so situations like this have become very touchy. And of course, what happened here tonight is absolutely horrible. 2 people killed. Do you think there should be more security at places of Jewish worship, or just places across the country where Jewish people gather?
Well, first, I want to say, I have for a long time now been calling for this war to end. What's happening in Gaza is horrific. There are still Israeli hostages in Gaza. This needs to end, and we need peace. But this is about violence here in the U.S. At a Jewish community event, at a Jewish museum. And yes, sadly, we're seeing Jewish institutions, including synagogues, for years now implementing increased security, even metal detectors to get into some synagogues, which is really tragic. But they feel the need to do it because of the increased violence being directed towards Jews long before the war in Gaza started. So this is an ongoing problem in terms of increased risk of violence toward the Jewish community, and it has to stop.
Yeah, I mean, it is very evident that there is increased tension in general, a lot of increased concern for the Palestinian people as well. This week specifically, reports of the population on the brink of starvation, this sort of thing. So the tension has really risen. As we reported, the man who was outside was pacing in front of the building. Is that concerning to you that he was not approached by security or questioned at all before this eventually took place?
I can't speak to where he was pacing or what he was doing. What I know is that he shot and killed 2 people at a Jewish community event at a Jewish museum, and that is terrifying. And what's happening in terms of the war in Gaza, it's a terrible thing, and it needs to end. But we need to also be very clear that regardless of what horrific wars are happening around the world, targeting or killing people at a Jewish community event is really just horrific and very scary for Jews everywhere.
Senator, any plans to bring this up at any meetings, anything legislatively here in the state of California that you're planning to bring to Sacramento based on what happened here tonight and also what you've been reporting in terms of, you know, the Jewish anti-Semitic issues here in California?
Yeah, so I have the honor of co-chairing our legislative Jewish caucus of all the Jewish legislators in the California state legislature. And we focus intensively and have for years on trying to combat anti-Semitism here in California, which unfortunately does exist here. We have also worked hard every year. One of our top priorities has been to increase investment in California's nonprofit security grant program, which is a program where community centers, places of worship, other community settings can receive grants to improve security. The Jewish community has been able to access these funds, as have other communities. And we will continue to work very hard to make sure that the state of California is supporting Jewish and other community institutions in their work to remain safe.
Senator Scott Wiener, thank you so much for joining us on such a short notice. We really appreciate all of your insight on what happened tonight.
Thank you.